In this video, I'll uncover the most important foods that you must know about if you're going to embark on the ketogenic diet. A lot of people want to follow the ketogenic diet. And just like when you go to start any diet, one of the first things you think to yourself is, well, what foods can I have on this diet? And then when you see the food list, you go, oh my gosh, I can't eat anything on this diet. But the truth is that you can eat a lot of things on the ketogenic diet. And it's not like eating healthy 20, 30 years ago where people just ate salads every day, very bland salads. Well, on the ketogenic diet, you're eating a lot of really delicious foods. And guess what? The ketogenic diet is high in fat, and fats are really delicious. So we're gonna help you get started on that. And that's why we're gonna talk about keto cooking and the keto food list, the top foods that you need to have if you wanna follow the ketogenic diet. But before we get started, I'm Dr. Zyrowski, and welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, it's a pleasure to have you here. Be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification, join our notification community, and I'm gonna be able to help you excel your health and your life. Let's go ahead and talk about some of these top keto foods, okay? So, well, in the ketogenic diet, you're eating a lot of fats. It is a high-fat diet. So we have to have our fats stocked up, ready to go. Some of the top fats that you're gonna use while on the ketogenic diet are gonna be things like coconut oil, avocado oil. Now, these are both really good fats. And the reason that it's important to have these is because these are the ones that you wanna cook with. These fats right here are the fats that are gonna be able to handle a high heat, right? Because we want to cook with the fats that are able to tolerate the high heat when cooking, because we don't want to use a fat that we're denaturizing and making unstable while cooking. So coconut oil and avocado oil are going to be your high heat fats. Now, we also want to have lots of olive oil. It's really great for you, really great anti-inflammatory benefits, lots of antioxidants and nutrients in there. Now, olive oil is going to be more of a finishing oil on the ketogenic diet. You can sprinkle it on your meats, you can drizzle it on your salad, use it as a salad dressing. Think of it as more of a finishing oil because you don't want to expose it to high temperatures as it'll cause it to go bad. Now, MCT oil is also a staple on the ketogenic diet. Not only is it really good for you and have lots of energy benefits and physical performance benefits and brain benefits, but it also is really good at helping you stay in ketosis. And so what I like to do and what a lot of people do while on the ketogenic diet is they put that MCT oil in their coffee in the morning and it helps promote ketosis. What I actually prefer to do is use an MCT powder, and I'll put a link in the description below here to the one that I'm using. But I prefer the MCT powder because it doesn't give you an oily coffee, and it also is not as hard on the gastrointestinal system. It doesn't cause gastrointestinal distress like if you were to go and put the oil within your coffee. A lot of people will do this, get diarrhea, and it's not so good. So the MCT powder is a better way to go about doing so. Butter is also a staple. Now, same thing with butter. We don't want to be heating that up to high temperatures. Ghee is also great. Now, ghee can handle a little bit higher temperatures. Tallow and lard. So we want to make sure we have these fats in check. I also want to mention too, in the description, I'll put a full food list, because one of the things that some people might say is, well, this isn't all the fats that you can have on the ketogenic diet, and that would be correct. But I'm talking about the top ones in this video. So in the description below, you'll also find a link to a whole food list that you can download. Now let's talk about protein sources. Now, fish are going to be one of the great things that you can have on the ketogenic diet. High in fat, lots of great protein, really great for your overall health, brain health, high in omega-3s, high in DHA, really great. Now, when we think of fish, we want to use the acronym SMASH. Now, we're thinking of salmon, mackerel, anchovies, sardines, and herring. These are going to be some of the high-fat fish that are going to have lots of DHA, lots of omegas in them, and they're going to have a lot of heart health benefits, brain health benefits, and they're going to be some of the best to have while on the ketogenic diet because they offer you all those fats. We also want to have lots of good protein like grass-fed beef, okay? I'm specific towards grass-fed beef because you're going to get a better fatty acid ratio within the grass-fed beef, and also it's going to have some different nutrients in it that, regular unsustainably raised beef isn't going to have, like vitamin K2. And so grass-fed beef is the way to go. And when we think of eating these different healthy meats, these things like even free-range eggs, we want to make sure that we don't think of just going to the store and buying the expensive stuff. Think of going to a farmer's market. Maybe if you have a farm nearby, you buy from them if they're raising their animals in a sustainable manner. I mean, where I live, you can find this stuff everywhere, and it's not hard to find a local farm to get grass-fed beef or free-range eggs. So looking at free-range eggs, this is really great and also a staple on the ketogenic diet as well. First of all, they have a great amino acid profile, so we're going to get lots of good proteins from them, but they also have a great fatty acid profile in them as well. And of course, it's only 77 calories per egg, so it's really great. And I would say that eggs are definitely up there as to one of the most popular foods while on the ketogenic diet. Pork is good as well. You know, people love this. I shouldn't give eggs all the credit here for one of the most popular foods because bacon's up there pretty high. But pork is pretty popular while on the ketogenic diet. That would be a fatty meat. We're thinking bacon, sausage, and maybe some pork chops, that kind of thing. So pork is good. Ham as well. Nuts and nut butter. You know, when we look at some of the good nuts on the ketogenic diet, macadamia nuts are really great. Nut butter like almond nut butter or macadamia nut butter is also going to be really good. Now, when we look at the nuts and nut butter, we always want to buy raw, okay? Because it's the same thing when we were talking about those fats a minute ago. If these different nuts are heated to a high temperature, the good healthy fats in them become denatured. So we don't want to get roasted ones, we want to get raw ones. And if we get raw with some sea salt on it, it is the perfect keto combination. And so nuts and nut butter are really great. Full fat dairy, and I'm specific to the full fat dairy because if we start getting the no fat dairy, we're getting a high carb content. So we want to get full fat dairy, and we want to use things like, yogurt is good. Things like cottage cheese are good. When we look at the different cheeses that we can eat, we want to think of more of the hard cheeses like cheddar. Now, when we look at the dairy products, we want to make sure we're getting full-fat milk or full-fat heavy whipping cream as well. So the full-fat dairy is a really good way to go on the ketogenic diet as well. Some people who don't do as well with dairy, you're going to want to cut back on that because dairy is kind of a staple food on the ketogenic diet. If you don't do well with dairy, you can still do the ketogenic diet and just find workarounds. Now, free-range chicken is also a great food on the ketogenic diet. A lot of the poultry out there is not going to have a high fat content, but it is still a good lean protein that you can have while on the ketogenic diet. You just drizzle some olive oil on it and some butter, and you really have a really great meal there. So chicken's great too, and is a great protein source. Next here is some of the best vegetables. When we think of the vegetables, we want to get those low carbohydrate vegetables. Now, when it comes to the ketogenic diet, this is where people get really creative with a lot of these vegetables. People are making cauliflower fried rice. People are making cauliflower mashed potatoes. You take broccoli and you can, steam it. You can roast it. There's so many things that you can do. You learn to actually cook in very different ways while on the ketogenic diet because you actually are forced to take a lot of these different veggies and find ways to eat them differently than maybe the standard person does. Maybe the standard person just eats broccoli either steamed or they go and they eat it raw. But while on the ketogenic diet, people are just more creative because this is a staple foods that you have. Cabbage, romaine lettuce, spinach. We want to make sure we're getting lots of romaine lettuce and spinach on a daily basis. And then green beans and Swiss chard. These are some of the top veggies that people are eating while on the keto diet. There are more. Like I said, they'll be in that description list below there. But we want to make sure that these are the top ones that we have ready to go if we're going to follow the ketogenic diet. Let's talk about some of the best fruits. When we consider fruits on the ketogenic diet, we got to stay away from the big fruits that have a lot of sugar in them. We want to get to the small fruits that have a very high micronutrient density, and we also are going to look to those because they have a very low glycemic index. So we're thinking raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, coconut is great as well. Lemon, limes, it's really great to throw some lemon and limes in your water. Because while on the ketogenic diet, you're not drinking those sodas anymore. So, getting creative with water is also a real popular thing. Lemon and lime, star fruit, and then avocado too. A lot of people think, well, avocado is not a fruit. Avocado is a fruit, and it's something that is a staple on the ketogenic diet. You want to make sure that you have that avocado handy, ready to go. I talk about it all the time, but I always like taking an avocado, splitting it in half, putting some sea salt on it while on the keto diet, and eating things like that for lunch. It's really great. Now let's talk about what to drink while on the ketogenic diet, okay? We got to get rid of the sodas. We got to get rid of those, 400 milligrams of sugar coffees from Starbucks. That is a gross exaggeration, but we want to make sure we're getting rid of all these high sugar drinks. We want to stick to things like water, okay? We also can use things like an electrolyte drink. An electrolyte drink is also real popular because not only are you able to put like a electrolyte powder into your drink and enjoy it, but also you get a little bit of flavor. It switches things up a little bit because I can tell you, after eating healthy for many years, just drinking plain old water every day gets a little boring sometimes. And so using things like an electrolyte drink, which we have one that we specifically recommend for the keto diet. I'll put a link in the description below to that. And next is coffee, okay? Coffee is real popular on the keto diet. Like I said, you put that MCT powder in there, it's great. Tea, sparkling water as well. And this really is important when we talk about people who are trying to come off soda and sugary teas. You want to make those lateral shifts. A lot of times flavored sparkling water or just plain old sparkling water really does it for them. So if you're trying to make that lateral shift, get off sodas and sugary beverages, sparkling water is your friend here. Also, apple cider vinegar is great too. I love sipping apple cider vinegar while on the ketogenic diet. One of the things I'll even do is put a couple drops of stevia in it, and that's really good. And so you get used to some of these things. Like I said, in the beginning, it can be a little bit like, well, this is a hard transition, but you try to make that transition as easy as possible. I want to also talk about some sugar substitutes because this is important, because those who are on a standard American diet, sugar is in everything. I mean, even when you think about desserts or your coffee, most people are putting sugar in their coffee, sugar in their teas, high sugar beverages all day. And so sugar is a staple in the standard American diet. I think it's estimated that people are consuming over 150 pounds of sugar every single year. That's the average person and their average sugar consumption. So stevia is a good one. Get rid of the sugar, use the stevia. Monk fruit is good too. And I like monk fruit because it actually has like some nutritional value to it. You know, monk fruit is coming from a plant. Xylitol as well, and then erythritol. We gotta be a little bit careful with xylitol. It can tend to actually spike your blood sugar a little bit. And so xylitol, erythritol, these are some great sugar substitutes. The other thing we have to be careful with some of these sugar alcohols is some people will actually react poorly to them. So we look at xylitol and erythritol. Make sure that you try a little bit first to make sure it doesn't cause any gastrointestinal distress. Some people it does, some people it doesn't, but I will tell you it causes gastrointestinal distress in everybody who consumes it in large amounts. So if you're making some sort of keto recipe or maybe one of your favorite cookie recipes and you're trying to convert it to keto, if you put the same amount of xylitol in that you would have put for sugar, you will end up running to the bathroom all night long. And you know what? We've all been there when we tried to start eating healthy. Back in the day when my wife and I tried to start eating healthy, we didn't have guides like this. I mean, there wasn't stuff all over the internet, and you were actually pretty weird if you went and do it. You were kind of a hippie if you were trying to eat healthy. Now it's becoming something that's more of the norm just because of the huge epidemic of health crises out there and so many people facing serious health conditions. So give this video a thumbs up. Put in the comment section below what your favorite keto food is, and then share this video with your friends, and check out this video over here that's going to give you a complete breakdown and guide to the ketogenic diet. A lot of people suffering from this. We want to make sure that we utilize a proper diet in order to reverse this issue.